What is going on, you guys? It's me, Matthew, here with my co-host Steven, on a night that should have been a great night to be a wrestling fan, especially after
I was so
NXT.
hyped when I woke up,
Yeah,
despite all
especially
the
after NXT.
lack of buildup.
Yeah, no, but despite having a great show on Friday and NXT take over Dallas tonight, WWE decided to they crapped on us, is what they did, and I, it's getting harder and harder for me to find a reason to tune in. It seems like nothing's going to change. It seems like the WWE is hell bent on just disregarding their fan base. And I mean, I don't know. What did you think, Steve?
Yeah, I kind of tuned out of the show after the triple threat match, to be honest, with the divas or women's wrestlers. I'm sorry, it's just been ingrained in my head for like the past 8 years.
Yeah, that's their
It's
fault.
just a fucking predictable ass main event. And then in this case, predictable was bad. They had to mute the crowd basically because Roman was getting booed so bad.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the crowd noise. I mean, you could hear boos for Reigns throughout the match. Every time there was a lot of heat for Reigns, you kind of heard the audio getting funky with the announcers, Michael Cole and JBL. You can kind of hear them kind of going in and out a little bit. At the end of the show, after Roman won, they basically decide. I mean, they kind of cut to him celebrating. Then they muted the entire crowd. You couldn't hear any reaction at all, positive or negative.
They cut to a video.
They cut to a video and they just ended the show promptly. And God, I can't. I mean, it's you think I would come on here and I'd be pissed. You think I'd come on here and I'd be yelling, but I mean, I'm depressed, honestly. I mean, that's what it's. I mean, how do you end the show like that? I mean, in all honesty, the show reeked of Vince McMahon from start to finish. There was, I mean, I only, for me personally, I know there's a lot of people who liked different things about the show. For me personally, I only liked two things, and with a caveat of maybe a half a thing. In this entire show, I think the Divas match absolutely stole the night. I think they should have had Sasha go over. I thought that the ending didn't make sense, but whatever. It is what it is. It was a great match, stole the show for me. And then I liked Baron Corbin winning the Andre Battle Royal, which went on second to last.
For whatever reason.
The little caveat thing I liked was the Shane McMahon spot off the top of the Hell in the Cell. But let's be real, the match kind of fell flat. It wasn't a great match to watch.
I mean, what do you expect from a 46 and 51-year-old men?
Oh yeah, no, and we all knew that. We all knew that going in. Yeah, but there was no like really huge surprises or twists or turns. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't expect the Balor Club to debut tonight. I didn't, you know what I mean? But like, I expected something funky to go down in that Shane Taker match. Nothing did, and Taker just won clean.
What running did we get besides Cena, Stone Cold, Mick Foley, and HBK?
That, I mean, they do that every year.
Yeah.
And to some extent, where they have the legends come out and the legends do their thing. It just honestly, well, I mean, we're gonna dive into it. Let's dive into that main event first, just because it's fresh in everyone's mind. What the hell were they thinking? I mean, Roman Reigns, his shtick is up until this point obviously wasn't working. Okay, I'm not saying that they had to necessarily turn Roman heel. I'm not saying that Triple H had to win, but that was literally the laziest, most uncreative ending to the show they could have possibly done. They just had him go over clean, and the reaction of the place showed.
Creative. He did have a sledgehammer. It's not like.
No, what was creative about that? He dodged the sledgehammer and speared.
Yeah, I mean, it's not,
that's what you would have expect. That's what you'd expect them to do if they're trying to book someone strong. Like it was completely predictable. It was like literally what everyone, it was unpredictable because it was so predictable. People were like, "There's no way that the WWE would insult our intelligence that bad, and just have it end clean like that, completely clean." But they did, and I mean, I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter. or the Casual Smarks on Twitter. I don't know if you guys follow, you guys probably follow different wrestling accounts. But if people who were at the show are tweeting, live videos from the crowd, and the crowd was going absolutely ballistic and against Reigns, it was deafening. One guy, Matthew from Botchamania, said the boos sounded like a swarm of locusts flying into the arena. Like it was deafening, but you didn't get that across on TV because Vince McMahon and his production team, edited it to where, his guy wouldn't look as bad, but it still looked bad. It still looked bad. It looks worse when you have to do things like that. And the Twitter exists, people. I can see the live reaction on Twitter because people are going to post it. People have cell phones. Same thing. News sites exist. The press is there. It's not like it's not going to get out that Roman got booed out of the building. So your cheap attempts at editing, they don't work. What did you think of the main event, though? I'm asking you.
It's just so predictable, man. They just continue to shove Roman down our throats. We all knew he was going to go over here. The only thing I hoped for was once he went over clean, is that something happened after that. But
nothing happened after the match. Okay.
So I guess, it's for sure Vince wants Roman to be John Cena.
It's not even John Cena. There's not even half and half reactions for Roman Reigns. It's not John Cena. And John Cena, as much as we give him crap, he at least at one point in his career found a way to get over with the majority of the fan base. Like, he was super over when he was doing his Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick early in his career. Like, grown men cheered for Cena. Roman Reigns hasn't been able to do that because it's been so blatantly obvious.
I think he has. When he went against Daniel Bryan. Nah, he was at one point. It was like 2014, but we didn't really watch.
No, but he wasn't, because that was one match, Steve. I'm talking about for a extended period of time. Roman Reigns has never been on top and positively received. When he was part of the Shield doesn't count. You can't count. I know about that. Do you want to get an argument right now? Because I can straight up tell you he's never been the top guy. No. But he's never been the top guy and positively received. Cena was the top guy and positively received. When Roman got cheers at the Royal Rumble 2 years ago, he was still in the Shield, which was an insanely overact. I don't get where you're coming from with this. It doesn't make any sense. But no. What? Tell me where you're coming from.
No, he was at one point. You can go back, but I don't like him. I'm just saying.
I'm telling you, he wasn't. Absolutely never. When he was at the Shield, yes. That's not him. That's the act. That was the Shield.
Anyways.
But regardless, despite my co-host defying logic,
what the fuck is wrong with you for that?
No, it's true. It's true, though. If you can show it to me, then I'll eat my words on the next podcast, and I will apologize to you publicly on air. I'd never seen it. But anyways, moving on. It's all good. Moving on. I guess we'll just start from the bottom of the show. The pre-show matches were kind of who cares. You had first match, Kalisto went over Ryback, which was. Should have happened. Ryback doesn't deserve to win that match. He didn't do anything. The build up to that feud wasn't great. That's why it was on the pre-show. But so you had not Uso, but you had Kalisto go over Ryback. Then we had Team Bad versus Team Bad and Blonde. It
wasn't a bad match at all.
No, it was a pretty good match. But then we had Team Bad and Blonde go against Team Total Divas, and we had a Nikki Bella cameo in this match at the end after Team Total Divas won. Lana had some pretty revealing ring gear.
Nice diva.
Yeah, but and then during the pre-show, Lita announced that she was going to make a big announcement. Then she did make a big announcement. They unveiled the new women's title, which was excellent. I like the title. If there's one thing they did right on this entire show, it was the way they treated the women, because the new title looks great. It puts them right up there with, it looks just like the men's, except a little bit different.
Superstars now.
And that was another thing. Now they're all called superstars. And you saw that during the actual match with Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte. So that was a pretty cool thing. Then the final match was the Usos versus the Dudleys, and basically the Usos won, and Dudleys went through some tables. So, I mean, do you have any?
Obvious.
Do you have
No,
any anything to add to
nothing.
that? Like, really not, right? It's kind of
It's
whatever. But it was the pre-show, so that's okay. The pre-show can be kind of like that, and it wasn't bad for a
That was
pre-show.
predictable.
It was predictable, but it was a pre-show, and whatever. I'm not going to dog on the pre-show. I will dog on the main show because honestly, the main show it reeked of Vince McMahon. It reeked of exactly how he would want everything to play.
And it went so long.
Yeah, and it was kind of controversial because I tweeted out on my personal Twitter account like, hey, they got 20 minutes. This is at 7:40 our time, 10:40 Eastern time. I just figured out they have 20 minutes to fit everything in. They never announced that the pay-per-view was going to end when it did. And usually WWE ends their pay-per-views early. Like when I went to WrestleMania last year, it was a 4-hour pay-per-view. It was supposed to run from 4 o'clock our time, 7 o'clock Eastern to, and this was announced, to 8 o'clock our time, 11 o'clock Eastern, and it ended at 10:40 Eastern. So, I mean, they went over. I don't know if it was planned, but I'm pretty sure it was announced that it was going to be a 4-hour show. It went way too long, and especially with the 2 hours of the pre-show, it was like 9 hours or 8 hours of straight wrestling, and it wasn't good wrestling. It wasn't wrestling at its best. The matches were actually all right, but the fact that the build-up was horrible, and a lot of people were expecting, hey, the build-up was really bad, so maybe they'll overperform on the show like they did last year, because last year the build-up was pretty bad too. But yeah, no, it was just all bad.
Yeah, man, nice.
Yeah. Well, what was the kickoff match? We kicked off with I think AJ Styles was the second match, right?
Yeah. Trying to think. Oh, ladder match.
Oh yeah, we kicked off the ladder match. I'm surprised they kicked off with that. I understand why, because it's a hot match to start off the night. But honestly, they started off of it last year, so I thought they'd do something different. It was a good match. It was a car crash of a match. It was what everyone expected it to be. It was
Cool
really
spots.
good. Really cool spots. You had who went through the ladder? Was it
Sami
Sin Cara?
Zayn did his suicide dive to a tall ladder.
Yeah, no, and remember someone crashed through a ladder. I think it was Sin Cara, or was it Stardust? I think it was Stardust. Sin Cara pushed Stardust.
Sin Cara is the one that fell into Stardust.
And that was a pretty cool spot. Okay, so I'm going to complain about this show not having any major swerves. There was a swerve. Zack Ryder won the match, but can I tell you what storyline significance does that have? You know what I mean? What type of...
Watch him lose it tomorrow night on Raw.
And yeah, watch it. Honestly, I bet you he will. I kind of hope that he doesn't lose it to Kevin Owens, because
have Baron Corbin come out, be like,
yeah, you can do that. I kind of want Kevin Owens to be in the title picture, but considering how poorly Reigns was received tonight, Kevin Owens would be the babyface in that feud. Kevin Owens is an internet darling, and do you mind if I take like 1 minute to address something?
I guess.
All right. I know this is how sad it's just like, because that's what how we feel about this show. It's just like,
that's how I felt after the triple threat match.
Yeah.
No,
you liked the triple threat match, right?
Yeah, just all the matches after that.
No, but I just want to take 1 minute to address something. So, you get a lot of people complaining about the IWC. You get a lot of people complaining about smart fans, smarks. We're the casual smarks, right? I do want to address something. You do realize we live in 2016. Everyone has a smartphone. Everyone has a computer. Everyone has social media. Everyone is a smark to some extent. If you watch the show and you follow it, if you follow it on Twitter or you follow it on Facebook or you have some sort of an insight. We all know it's a work in 2016 for one. It's not, kayfabe's dead for lack of, it just is. We all know that it's not a real fight. So your fan base, all of them are smarks. Now, I mean, it doesn't necessarily, some are much more marky smarks, whereas they're really into it. Like I would probably fall into that category, but everyone to, some knowledge, everyone's kind of that now. So I don't think the Roman thing's going to get any better. It's going to get worse. It looks like literally nothing. Okay, I'm going to get you involved in this conversation, Steven. I mean, do you see anything changing after tonight at all? Like anything?
I have no idea where they're going to go from here. It boggles my mind.
Question.
I don't know if that's a good thing. It's probably not.
Question. Has the status quo on the man? Okay, so the women's side of things have changed. I will give them that.
Yeah.
That is, and I like the direction they're going with that. But on for the rest of the entire roster, Roman Reigns, I'll even say like Kevin Owens. Let's actually. We're gonna just kind of ties into the next match. The AJ Styles Y2J thing seems like it's gonna keep going on. Like, has anything changed? WrestleMania is
there was no reason Jericho needed to win that match. Let's face it, he's not gonna be there much longer.
Yeah, it
comes and goes.
I know. It's because they're gonna continue it on. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be a match at Payback. And for a feud
out of 5.
For a feud that has already felt played out, you know what I mean? Like it was fine that they dragged it out to WrestleMania, but you could tell it was like with, the feud going to the WrestleMania was literally just a kind of a war of chants. Am I right? It was just it really was like they were taunting each other with each other. It was so dumb. But it was like, okay, let them have their match. Not WrestleMania, but AJ Styles needs a spot on the card. So I can see that. It's fine. No. It looks like they're going to keep going unless they end it like this. And that's just, it is 50-50 booking at its finest, right? They've both had 2 wins. They both had 2 losses.
Yeah, it's going to be a best out of 5 and AJ is going to win.
Maybe. We all thought AJ was going to win this match though.
Yeah. So anyways, Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah. That happened. So we'll see where they go with that. I bet you he gets squashed tomorrow night. If he does get squashed, I hope it's by Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then, by the way, guys, I was right about that. I know not a lot of you watched the predictions video, but I will say I did. I had him in my predictions. He wasn't my number 1, but he was in my predictions. I felt pretty good about that. I thought he would be in the match if anyone from NXT would be in the match. So yeah, we had Y2J, AJ Styles, and AJ Styles. We just talked about that. He lost. It was probably their best match technically, but the problem is that no one really was emotionally invested in the match at all because we've already seen it 3 times before. That even though it was probably their best match technically, it didn't come off as special. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and you also had Jericho kicking out the Styles Clash, so Vince is basically just sparing the move.
It's over. They're never gonna let him use that. So. Yeah, so that happened. Do you know what was the next thing to go on?
Next thing to go on. I'm trying to look at the. I'm honestly trying to get the thumbnail for the video, but that's why I haven't.
No, you're good, man. I'm just trying to think because it was such a long show. You know what I mean? 5 hours. It was really easy to get lost during the show. I do have a question while we're looking for the order, though. So in regards to that Intercontinental Championship,
wasn't it Dean Brock?
Oh God, yeah, I think it was. I think you're right. So you have Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar in a match that, for a match that was being kind of touted as the match that could possibly steal the show, this was probably, besides the main event, the most lackluster match on the card. It wasn't great at all.
It's like all the build-up. A decent amount of build-up. It just didn't seem like it mattered.
It fell completely flat. The crowd wasn't into it. Dean and there wasn't really a lot of weapon involvement. With all the, there was a couple kendo stick spots, but
he didn't hit him with the chainsaw.
He
didn't hit him with the bat. Brock had to freaking dodge the bat, but Dean would eat that freaking barbed wire bat.
Yeah, my problem with the whole thing is you had legends passing their weapons, their torches to Dean Ambrose. So you expected a really hardcore, grueling match, and it didn't really go. Did it go longer than 10 minutes? I think it went like maybe 15.
Yeah, dude,
it was kind of hard to sit through, and it's disappointing because I feel like Dean Ambrose, and it's not his fault. Maybe today there was reports that came out that Brock Lesnar, his contract dates are pretty much used up, and maybe I had my someone text me that maybe it was in his contract. You go 10 minutes out. I doubt that was the case.
I got a rant on Lesnar.
Go for it.
I'm just the whole Suplex City. I'm done with it. It's every match. I know he doesn't wrestle that often, but it's all the man does, man. He used to have matches with Kurt Angle, and it'd be more than suplexes. It's just I can't stand the suplexes after suplex because that's it. That's all he does. He suplexes. Maybe he knees, hits a Kimura every once in a while, then he F5s.
Yeah, no, his whole shtick is played out, honestly, in my opinion, including I like Paul Heyman and I like his promos, but the fact that Brock Lesnar just shows up, stands there, has Paul Heyman basically cut the same promo every time, and then he goes out there and he has the same type of match.
Last year,
suplex,
that,
punch, knee, F5.
The pre-match, freaking package last year when Brock was talking, it made the match more watchable.
It made it more, more intriguing. We didn't hear a single word from Lesnar about Ambrose this entire feud. You realize that? Not a single word. God. Well, I don't know. I don't even know if we're going to see Lesnar tomorrow.
Batter up, bitch.
Yeah, that was cool. Except you would have thought if you're going to have a barbed wire bat in the match, I mean, if you're going to promote it, you have to use it. I know it's PG. I get it. But, it's just kind of like you don't build up the fans' expectations. And if you can't use it, if you're really worried about, your PG rating, then don't even promote it. There was no point in promoting that. Christ. I really didn't like this show. God.
Next up, we had the best match of the night.
God, and it was.
You can see by my picture and my shirt. I'm wearing 2 freaking shirts here, man. I wanted her to win so bad, but they didn't listen to the fans, which I'm fine. She'll probably get it within the next couple of months. But it's WrestleMania.
I don't know. Was that the next match or what? It was the New Day match.
Yeah. No, it was not, dude. It might have been, but anyway.
Yeah.
About it.
Hey, let's talk about the Divas match, and then we'll just because I can go over the New Day thing in a minute. Okay, no, we'll go over the Divas, and then we'll go over the New Day. Sorry if we're out of order, guys. 5.5 hour show. I didn't take any notes because I was trying to enjoy it. I was hoping they would do something, good with it, and I was trying to savor the moments, and there was no moment to savor. So probably I should have took notes. I don't know.
That New Day match was before the Brock match, so we've already.
Oh, who cares? Yeah, we'll talk about it. We're out of order. Screw it. And we'll talk about this match. We'll talk about the New Day segment next, and then we'll talk about the 2 main events, the co-main events. The entrances were great. The Snoop Dogg performance of Sasha Banks' theme song, him intertwining his own little rap in it was cool.
Fire and smoke. She had a bunch of them. And Charlotte came out with Ric Flair's
robe.
And I like that they gave her fireworks. They don't give those fireworks. So yeah, she was looking epic in that.
Great match. For a feud. Well, I guess you can call it a feud. For a program, let's put it that way.
Sasha had the confetti. That was dope.
Yeah. I think it was a great match, especially considering that the build up for the program has been pretty good. The video package was great, and obviously the video packages are pretty much always good. But yeah, no, it was a really good technical match. Some really cool spots in that match. A lot of they were bridging out of pins. They were the entire first 5 minutes of the match was them trying to pin each other in different ways, which is cool. I honestly was. I do think they made a mistake. It's not because I'm a huge Sasha Banks fan. I do think they made a mistake putting Charlotte over instead of Sasha Banks, but I'll get into that in a second. I wanted to.
I get it.
I get it too.
They had a Flair have the first women's champion. I was rooting for Sasha, but she hasn't had the best build up to win this match specifically, and that's more on the writers.
My question though is so just because her dad's Ric Flair, she deserves it. No, she's not. She doesn't. You know what I mean? No, but I get what you're saying. I think that's what they were thinking. And they had Sasha outside of the ring for a big portion of this match, which really led me to believe that she was going to come in and win because, she was kind of playing, she was going to beat up. And you're going to, the thing, and by the way, Charlotte's excellent in her role as a heel. And Ric Flair's excellent in his role as a heel manager, and Charlotte's really improved over the last year, and she deserves it. Don't get me wrong, but I felt like if you're going to reboot the women's division, you're taking the Divas division and you're turning it into the women's division again, or reverting it back. Actually, say progressing, because it is progress, because the Diva thing was horrible. So they're progressing to actually legitimizing these people, or these women, as superstars, not divas.
Speaking of diva,
No,
Brie
but
Bella retired tonight.
That's true. We thank you. It was cool. She had her little. She had a cool little yes spot
on Twitter.
Her mom announced it on her personal Twitter, but But anyways,
clean ass yes look.
I was gonna say, but if you're trying to revamp your entire division, your women's division, I don't see why you would have a heel hold the title first. I feel like if you're trying to do that, you have to have a baby face, and that would have been a great moment for Sasha. The crowd was loudly behind Sasha Banks when she came out. One of the pops of the night. I don't know if it was the pop of the, I don't even think Shane McMahon got that big of a pop, honestly, because the whole Shane Undertaker thing the whole thing fell flat for me. But yeah, no, I mean, Sasha Banks was really over. I thought it would have been a good moment. You're right. It wasn't the feud wasn't great, and they haven't been building her up. I think the build up for the match was good. I guess when it comes to building Sasha Banks up, they didn't do the best job. But the last week, if you follow WWE's YouTube and stuff, like Sasha Banks, she was so emotional about this match, and they could have played stuff for that, from that, because they have all that content. She came off as really likable to me. I thought there was no doubt in my mind that she was going to win this match. It was just weird.
She had Eddie Guerrero tights too.
That was cool. And she had a frog splash. That was awesome.
Which the camera didn't really catch because
no, they had this showed on replay. But no, it was a great match. Match of the night for me. Those women stole the show. The women's division has a bright future. They were referring to the women as superstars after the match. They did the whole fireworks thing that they do for the WWE Championship. The entire stadium erupted in fireworks when Charlotte won. So I mean, it was good.
Yeah, Charlotte was the best thing on the show. Out with the figure eight, and Sasha was trying to get back in the ring, and then Ric Flair was holding her back.
Yep, and I mean that's going to play into their feud, and Sasha will eventually win the title, and it will be a good moment. I wish it would be a WrestleMania moment. There's no way they're waiting a year to do it. They're going to probably do it. I don't even know if they'll do it at Payback. I don't know if they'll do it at
WrestleMania 33 in Orlando, Florida.
That'll probably happen. I bet you Bayley's going to be the one who gets her big babyface WrestleMania moment, and she deserves it. She deserves it. So I mean, I'm excited to see what happens with the women's division. It's pretty much the only thing I'm excited to see coming out of this show. And part of me almost doesn't want to tune in the Raw tomorrow.
There's one other thing. We'll get into that later.
Oh yeah, I know you're going with that. I agree. All right, so moving forward, we're gonna backtrack to the New Day.
Came out.
Skip the match. Go ahead. You can go through this.
Came out. They had like a 20-foot Bootio cereal thing. They tipped it over. All their cereal came out, and then they came out through the cereal box, and they cut a pretty generic promo for WrestleMania. It was really, really generic.
Yeah, I was disappointed with it too.
That's like League of Nations, the lads, whatever, came out, did their yeah, and watch our predictions video. We went League of Nations, and they actually ended up getting the pin tonight, which was, I honestly thought it was predictable. Maybe a lot of people didn't think that, but
no, I think it was pretty predictable too. League of Nations, I what I didn't like about it is that it even was advertised as a handicap match. Maybe, I guess Wade Barrett might not be.
Yeah, they killed off Wade Barrett.
Two matches.
They sent him off.
Do you want to hear something crazy? On the official shirts that they were selling of the card at the WrestleMania Superstore, the main event was listed as a no disqualification match. On the WWE licensed shirts, it said it was a no disqualification match, and it wasn't a no disqualification match. There's Michael Cole even mentioned Roman Reigns better not get himself disqualified in that match. So anyone who bought that shirt, it's a lie. But yeah, no, this match. I thought the League of Nations was going to win just because, for the last month, they've been getting their ass kicked. They haven't won a single thing. So the way WWE works, and that's the problem with the show, is that I don't know if was there anything we didn't predict? Um, you know what I mean? Like and you would have thought they would have done something to kind of throw us off. I would have hoped that the Rock. Well, actually, I will say one thing. So you had the League of Nations win. You had, was it Wade Barrett cut a
Wade
promo?
Barrett saying that no one's better than them, even though he wasn't even in the match.
And then in one of the coolest
segment.
Yeah, and then in one of the coolest segments of the night, they did kind of like their yearly nostalgia act where they had, they had HBK come out, they had Mick Foley come out.
HBK come out and he took off his shirt and everything.
Yeah,
dude, he was in the ring gear.
HBK looks like he's in ring shape. Like he was in his ring gear. He looks great. He looks fantastic. I want to really say it's because of that DDP yoga, but they're not our sponsor, so. Yeah, no, but yeah, it was cool, and they all hit their finishers. Austin, it was cool too because they pretty much cleared out the League of Nations. Wade Barrett took every single finisher, the Socko, Sweet Chin Music, and a stunner, and then you had the New Day come in the ring afterwards and celebrate with the three legends, and then Xavier was trying to get Austin to dance, and Austin started dancing a little bit and stunnered him. Yeah, that was cool. It was cool. It was a cool.
See if they edit out the birds tomorrow.
I'm never gonna watch this WrestleMania again, so I'll never know. There's certain WrestleMania. Certain WrestleManias I'll rewatch over and over again. You got obviously WrestleMania X8, WrestleMania X7 is my favorite personally.
WrestleMania 9.
WrestleMania 9.
Was that the worst one? Which one was the worst one? Because I wasn't alive back then.
Oh, I'll tell you what the worst one was. At least one of the worst ones was WrestleMania 2 when they had it in 3 different locations. Horrible. But, there's certain WrestleManias you watch over again. WrestleMania 30 is probably the most recent one with, Daniel Bryan winning. That was a great story. This one, at least ending-wise, okay, because the show itself was mediocre for me. So let me tell you, kind of laid this out. We're going to, get off topic a few times because this is WrestleMania. This is the biggest show of the year. So we're going to talk about whatever we need to talk about. But the show for me, it was like pretty much it was like a 4 out of 10 going up into the Divas match, or now the women's match. It's so hard. They've programmed that word into our heads. I hate that word, but they've programmed it into our heads. But it was probably like a 4 out of 10 leading up to that. And then that match happened, and I was like, okay, it's like I'm going to give it a solid 6 to 7 out of 10, depending on the main event. And how they do this Shane Undertaker thing and they do the Roman Reigns thing. By the end of the show, this entire show to me was probably at the best of 3, and I'm going to actually go to me, it's like a 2. Because just the way I felt after. I felt drained. It was painful. It dragged on way too long, and all the matches were predictable, and nothing changed except for the women, which was great.
The matches, though, I don't know if they were predictable. Like, the first couple matches weren't. I'm saying, like, with Chris Jericho beating AJ Styles.
And I understand. I agree with you on that. Like, but that's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. They picked, the matches they picked to be swerves were the matches that no one wanted to be swerves. Yeah. And that have really no storyline significance except for
Ryder.
Except Ryder, and there's no storyline significance to that because I'm telling you he's going to get squashed eventually. It's going to happen. Yeah,
that's good though. Good for him.
No, yeah, good for him. He deserves it because he's gone through a lot of shit throughout the years. He was on top, not on top, but he was getting such a great reaction a few years ago, and then they just screwed him over. Cena pretty much buried him. It was that whole Demon Kane storyline. Yeah. Rise above hate. That whole thing. But so yeah, good for Ryder, but there's no significance to that.
In WWE
oh God, yeah. But no, I mean. It was just the show. It was one to me. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the worst WrestleManias of all time, and the ending for sure for me was the worst. For me, just for me, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree. You can even WrestleMania 27 was pretty bad. You had the Miz main event that. To me, this was bad, and the fact that it was blatantly obvious that WWE was trying to cover themselves up, and the audio and everything at the end just made it worse for me. It left such a bad taste in my mouth that I almost don't want to tune in the Raw tomorrow, but I will because I.
Have a podcast.
Well, yeah, that too. I got, you guys would miss me, right? Wink. No, I'm kidding. No, you wouldn't miss me at all. But no. So yeah, Divas match was great. New Day match was kind of predictable. It was a cool nostalgia segment. And then what did that lead into? Did that lead into Triple H Undertaker? Or not Triple H Undertaker, but Undertaker
No, next we had Shane Undertaker. Oh yeah. Oh, whatever. Yeah.
No, you're right. It's good. It's good. It's been a long day. We just sat in front of a TV for how long? 8 hours watching wrestling. So it's not. We're going to be out of it. So I will say, the match itself for me didn't work. The spot off the top of the cell was cool. I like that. Shane, 46 years old,
They
doing that.
had bags under the tables, which they needed.
Yeah, we noticed. We
Jeez,
saw
it
that.
was so high.
I'm surprised he's alive.
Here.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, dude! And Undertaker didn't even eat the bump.
But I found myself really tuning out during this match. And it just sucks. Okay, because I don't know if we mentioned this earlier, but the WWE for the last month with this whole Shane thing, Shane was this hugely over babyface, and he's basically been burying the product and saying, "Hey, the product sucks now. If I take over, it's going to be good." And he's the babyface, so he's the one that is supposed to be right. And he is right because we all agree with him, right?
WrestleMania is that the show's going to continue to suck.
Yeah, no, and that's literally what this entire WrestleMania, like I said, reeked of Vince McMahon. This is like basically Vince to everyone who pretty much made them change their plans the last 2 years. This is basically him saying, "Fuck you, I own sorry my language, but fuck you, I own the company. I'm going to do things my way. I'm going to put over my guy. Hey, you can boo him out of the building. I'm going to turn down your volume and I'm going to pipe in crowd noise." It was a total middle finger, except for the Diva stuff, which I feel like that's more of a Triple H Stephanie thing because it has such an NXT tie-in. I mean, I kind of, this is speculation, but this is my opinion, and it just reeked of Vince to me. It reeked of Vince to me, and this match basically said, "Hey guys, this show's not going to change. It's going to continue to stink." Especially considering the next segment for me also, I mean, some people like this segment. I didn't. The not co-main event. But wait, did the Andre battle royal?
We forgot to say who won.
Oh yeah. Well, if it wasn't obvious from the way we were talking, it was the Undertaker clean. No interference.
Should have been the main event.
No Balor Club. No Wyatt's. Wyatt's came out. Wyatt's had a segment where they got buried again, and I think that was next, right? Or was the Andre battle royal next?
I think the Andre was next.
All right. So we'll talk about it was next. You're absolutely right. So the Andre Battle Royal happened, and I'm actually happy about this. This was probably my second highlight of the night.
Second highlight. It was great.
Out of a night with not very many highlights.
So we had Baron Corbin from NXT in there, and he didn't get like a special entrance in there. He's just there.
Yeah, and not just Baron Corbin. You had DDP, Takanda. I can't pronounce it. I've never been able to pronounce his name. Thank you for pronouncing that. And who else? Who was the other one? Mark Henry came out after being
we had DDP. Weird. The entrances were Kane, Mark Henry, Big Show, Shaq. I was gonna say no Cesaro. Guys, we got Shaquille O'Neal coming out to Panda.
Can I tell you something? I was so afraid Shaquille O'Neal was going to win. I'm happy him and Big Show got eliminated early. If they had him win, I would have. Oh, but on a night with a lot of sad endings, we did have a happy ending in this match, and it was something that I predicted would happen if an NXT person was in this match because I wasn't sure if there was, and they didn't do the tournament this year like they did last year. I predicted that if they had anyone from NXT in this match, because it is the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, they would have none other than Baron Corbin in this match. And I predicted that if he was in this match, he would most likely win it. And guess what? He won the match.
I know Kane eliminated like someone, and then Baron Corbin got the elimination. Which, I mean, you can just tell Vince loves this guy. It's just
he's Vince's mold, which is good. I mean, Baron Corbin deserves it.
Yeah,
Baron Corbin. I mean, out of all,
an ass.
You know what Baron Corbin has going for him? I'll tell you what he has going for him. He has the look that Vince likes. So that's, so Vince likes him.
An eye for an eye.
But like now, even with like, because when he first burst on the scene and they tried to push him as a babyface, they kind of, in NXT, they were trying to do the same thing with him on NXT that they were doing with Roman Reigns on the main roster, right? But the difference with NXT is that they realized that he was getting booed. So they turned him heel, and they gave him this indie killing gimmick. And it worked. And he's been working his ass off the last year. If anyone deserved a WrestleMania moment as a rookie, it's him. And he's actually gained the respect of not all, but a very huge, significant portion of the fan base that loves to boo him. right? Loves to boo him. Not in a good way. Not like Eva Marie where it's go home. It's, genuine heat. You're a heel, I'm booing you. And it's great. He's great. And I think he has a bright future because of those two things. I think not casual fans, but I feel like Vince likes him, and I feel like the fan, most of the fans are, at least respect him. He's earned our respect. So that was that, and hopefully we see big things from him coming soon.
Think he'll be on Raw tomorrow?
Possibly. They not necessarily. The thing I'm afraid about is the last two people, like Cesaro won the Battle Royal at 30, and Big Show won it at 31. No one expected anything to happen with the Big Show, but Cesaro, they should have ran with it. So what I'm afraid of is he is on the main roster now, and then they don't do anything with it, because we've seen that in the past. But who knows? Like I said, he has a lot going for him. So
yeah. Next up, we had The Rock versus Eric Rowan.
Yes, we did. We will. Here's what basically happened. The Rock came out. His big announcement was the attendance, which, by the way, guys, there was not 100,000 people in that arena. There was 85,000 people in that arena. WWE fudges the numbers. They did the same thing with WrestleMania 3. They fudged the numbers at the Silver Dome. But the one at the Silver Dome, I think it was announced 91,000, and that was the kind of the capacity of the stadium. The capacity of the AT&T Stadium is obviously over 100,000. So they had to make it bigger than the WrestleMania 3 because it was a bigger stadium. It was a cool. It's cool seeing The Rock. The Rock got a good pop. And then you had the Wyatts come out where I don't think they really should have came out. I think they should have came out during the Dean Ambrose Lesnar match because I'd still want to see a Lesnar Wyatt feud. I think that'd be a good feud. But no, instead they decided.
Oh gosh, they're just burying the Wyatts
instead
over and over.
And you know what? People get mad at oh, they're not burying the Wyatts. People get mad at using the term bury. No, they've buried the Wyatts. You know why? Because the Wyatts have never gotten the upper hand at all in anything ever. Not
they
once.
Always end up losing the feud.
Not what? Oh wait. Oh, yes, they did. They beat the Dudley Boys. No, that's not. Who cares? No, they've never won a significant feud that people care about. They lost against the Shield. John Cena buried them. Daniel Bryan beat them all up. They've just been constantly just shoved down, down. They're literally at the bottom of the pecking order. And you thought maybe in this, what would have been cool, and I think what would have been a great moment would have been, so Wyatt's come out. Bray Wyatt's like, hey, I'm going to have my WrestleMania moment at your expense pretty much. I mean, he cuts away. Yeah, and then Rock, takes off his clothes. I noticed when he came out, he had wrestling boots on. He's in his ring attire, and he challenges any member of the Wyatts to a match. You would have hoped it was Bray, right? And it would have been cool if it was Bray. And what if Bray got like a pinfall victory? That would have been dope. Like that would have been great for Bray. But no, instead they had him face. Can you believe? I'm saying this right now. Eric Rowan had a match on WrestleMania against The Rock. He can say that. When he retires, he can say that he had a match against The Rock at WrestleMania.
I mean, he got pinned in 6 seconds.
It was a 6-second match. In fact, Meltzer tweeted.
Bam. That's because it is his insurance company, probably.
Yeah, Meltzer tweeted that it was actually 5 seconds. The Rock, the WWE was underselling it, like they messed up. Yeah, it was a 6-second match, at least according to the WWE, shortest match in WrestleMania history, and it pretty much just. Hey, the Wyatts suck again. And the Wyatts came up. They were gonna, swarm The Rock, and then John Cena made his return.
You know what I forgot about that?
What?
Cena.
Yeah, Cena comes out to booze. I would like to say I was happy to see him, but I wasn't, honestly. I want him to come back because the whole Roman Reigns thing has been painful. But and Raw is generally a little bit more entertaining with him on, but the way they brought him back sucked. It was such a cliche. It was such a old, like, textbook what they would have done in the 80s and 90s, how they would have brought like Hogan back. You know what I mean? It was so cheesy. He came back, him and The Rock basically hit their finishers on everybody. Cena didn't say a word, which is kind of surprising. And yeah, I mean, it accomplished I mean, okay, if kayfabe was still alive and this was the early '90s, that would have been really cool. Problem is it's not. We all see what they're trying to do. It was basically Vince saying, "Hey, this is another one of my guys." Like literally, The Rock and Cena are like two of Vince's. I mean, that's like Vince's like dream. Someone texted me like, "Oh God, I feel bad for those
Tweeted.
fans." No, texted me. I feel bad for those fans having to sit through that circle jerk because that's what it kind of was. Man. But anyways, then we get to the main event, which we already kind of covered. I have nothing really left to say about this main event other than I really, 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 really hope that. I mean, I know they fudged the live reaction.
Oh yeah, dude.
I know they did.
Completely like muted the crowd. You can like go look up some videos. Like he's getting booed.
I know they fudged it, but I all I gotta say is I hope that despite them, trying to give Roman Reigns his moment and they're trying to make it come off,
I hope,
and trying
he's
to
not a main event next year.
Exactly, and that's I hope hopefully they heard the crowd, and even though they tried to edit out the crowd, they heard the crowd and they know now, okay, this isn't gonna work. So they tried to edit it, and then they realized, okay, he had his moment. Hopefully this means it's the end of that. I mean, Roman Reigns, it's crazy. If you guys follow Wrestling Inc., they said something that I think really hit the nail on the head. Imagine having possibly one of the hottest heels in a generation and not pulling the trigger on it. That is what the WWE is doing with Roman Reigns. If he turned, I mean, he's almost to, I mean, he might be now after that, Eva Marie levels of heat. You know what I mean? And he's, the fact that they're still, the fact that they're still trying to, that might be a little exaggerated, but you get what I'm saying, right? He's like, the fact that they're not pulling the trigger on that, it would be such a special thing. The fact that The Rock hasn't, I mean, maybe he has, I don't know what has happening backstage, but The Rock should go up to Vince and be like, hey, you're doing the same thing with him that you did with me, and like with the whole Rocky Maivia thing. But you know what? When I was getting negatively received, you decided to turn me heel, and it made me the star that I am, the highest paid actor in Hollywood. And that's what it eventually parlayed him into. They could do that with Roman Reigns. The fact that they haven't is mind-boggling. I don't understand it one little bit. It is disgraceful. It's insulting to our intelligence what they're trying to do with him. He's not a babyface. The fact that they always try to stack the deck against him and have him overcome the odds, that's not what gets you over in 2016. What gets you over is paying your dues, earning a respect, not getting shoved down the fan's throat.
Yeah, the only thing that got like a reaction this match that wasn't boos was not even cheers. This was the spear on Stephanie McMahon. God, Stephanie ate that bump.
And yeah, you know what I didn't like about that? Well, I'll tell you two things I don't like about it. Because obviously they did it so he would get a pop. Like, it was obvious they did it so he would get a pop. Like, that is the main reason they had her stand there and take that spear, was because they're like, oh, well, the fans will cheer for him spearing a woman. Like, it's obvious they're trying so hard. Like, they're overdoing it. And it's horrible. It's just terrible. It's not even guys, I want to just preface, I just want to say something. I don't hate Roman Reigns the man. He seems like a good guy. He seems like a great dad.
Him. Yeah.
God, that sounds really lame.
At a live event in San Jose, by the way.
No, yeah, but he seems like a great guy. It's just when you insult our intelligence, it's what he represents. The real life Roman Reigns, Joseph Leakey, right? That guy. I have nothing against that guy. What my problem is his character and what he represents. He represents, just the people on top in that company being completely out of touch with what the fans, what just common sense would tell you they should do, what would be right. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm sad. I'm gonna go to bed sad tonight. It's weird. I thought I would be angry. I am angry.
Sasha to win, man.
I'm so angry that but it's a different type of angry. I'm like depressed. I'm depressed, and it sucks because I went to WrestleMania last year, and the feeling I had after that show was I was elated. I was on top. I was on cloud nine. It was great. The way that they ended that show was awesome. It was a swerve. No one saw it coming. Really, some people saw Rollins cashing in, but not during the middle of the match. You know what I mean? Like that entire show from top to bottom was a great card. Me and Steven, we rewatched it. A couple nights ago when we were enjoying it, you know what I mean? But this has no rewatchability whatsoever. Once again, I'm going to give this show 2 stars. You guys might think I'm underdoing it. I really didn't enjoy anything on the show besides the Divas match.
I might give it like a 4.
Yeah, and that's fair. I understand how
match was great. You said Divas again.
Hey, you know what? Blame Vince McMahon. Blame them for shoving that term down our throats. I'm happy that women's wrestling is getting the spot that it deserves, and I'm going to try my best to call it women's, but they've really ingrained that into my head. I mean,
that was WrestleMania.
That was WrestleMania, guys. Honestly, we're probably going to end really quick, and the reason I say that because usually what I would ask now is, what do you see happening on Monday Night Raw tomorrow? Right? Like, what are the implications?
That's the only thing. It's like we don't know, but it's not like a good we don't know.
Yeah, no. Usually I would ask, like, considering everything that happened on the card with all the matches and all the feuds, what would be the fallout of all of that? Problem is I don't feel like anything was progressed. I feel like a lot of things, like I feel like the Shane Undertaker thing is probably just done. Or the Shane Vince McMahon thing, because it really wasn't even Shane Undertaker. I feel like it's just going to be done. I don't know, even know if
Shane lose that.
Yeah, and we're never going to figure out what was in that lockbox. By the way, I don't think they ever planned on telling us, but it's just finished.
That's what we get to know.
The only I will ask you. The only thing that I'm intrigued about, and it has nothing to do with WrestleMania. It has more to do with just the fact that it's the Raw after WrestleMania. We were expecting some debuts, most likely.
Yeah, I'm just excited for the crowd. Balor Club possibly debuting, Bayley possibly debuting, the women's Baron Corbin.
They're not going to. And by the way, they're not going to debut
basically all NXT.
Yeah, they're not going to debut all those
people. Enzo and Cass, dude, they could, man.
Oh, Enzo and Cass. No, not all those people. They're not. You don't do 6 debuts on the show. I bet you like 2 of them will. I think Enzo and Cass are definitely on tomorrow. I'm glad you mentioned them. I didn't even think of them. They are, because they've been touring with the the live event crew, the main roster live event crew, and they also have been what's the word? They weren't on the NXT pay-per-view, and they haven't been at the tapings, I don't think. So that's good. They're going to be on the main roster. Great. Hopefully their shtick doesn't get old too fast. Let's see. So I bet you they debut, and either I don't know if Baron Corbin would be counted as a debut because he was on tonight. I hope maybe he's on tomorrow. And then I think there's a strong possibility of Samoa Joe being on tomorrow.
I think there's a strong possibility of Balor Club.
Do you though?
Yeah.
With Balor winning the NXT title?
Yeah.
Because we all thought that there's a possibility that Balor Club came out tonight.
Yeah, but I guess the crowd didn't know. They were chanting Ole, Ole, Ole. I mean, they muted it, and then they chanted Nakamura in the main event.
Oh, yeah.
And NXT,
I even remember when you were talking, I even remembered all that about that match. There was a lot of like NXT-related chants during that main event that they ended up turning down. Yeah, but I could see Balor Club too, just because Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows are backstage tomorrow. They're confirmed to be back there, so I mean that might happen, and that'd be cool. It's weird because Balor's still the NXT champion, and he's still advertised for a lot of NXT events. So I wonder how they do that. Maybe they just vacate it from him and do a tournament, which is what they did with Paige when she got called up. With the NXT women's title.
She was hot when she came out. I mean, like with the crowd. Like,
yeah, I get what you mean.
Positive reaction.
Yeah. So, the Raw after WrestleMania crowd, they'll eat up all the NXT people. By the way, can I just say something? Well, 2 things. NXT Takeover.
Better than WrestleMania.
Way up here, WrestleMania is like down in hell. And I wanted to say, like, was there a small part of you this entire night that was just really hoping that they would just throw a curveball and maybe Nakamura would come out, you know?
Oh, I was hoping that
on that stage.
Dude. After Vince watching what happened on Friday, I'm like, dude, you have to debut this guy now.
Oh, knowing Vince, he'll
Entrance at
debut.
WrestleMania. Oh gosh.
Knowing Vince McMahon and the way he treats people, that I wouldn't put it past Vince to debut Nakamura with a stereotypical Asian gimmick, which would just be such a shame. I mean, he gave fucking Neville a cape, turned him into a comic book character. I don't think he will. By the way, guys, I don't really think he will because I think he saw that match, and I think you could just tell. I'm happy that they let Nakamura keep his his entire ring attire was the same. His they didn't change his name or anything like they did with Hideo Itami, the old Kenta. I mean, they pretty much it was all Nakamura. He did everything the same as he always has, and it was great because what he does is perfect. I think if I never expected him to show up on WrestleMania, but I think on that stage it would have been awesome. It really would have been cool. I think that place would have went nuts. But all right, I think we are going to end with that. Hopefully, the future looks dim, but maybe in times of great sorrow, something good could come out of it. They do have the talent there to make it better.
For sure, the talent in NXT.
There's a lot of good building blocks. Well, in like the NXT talent who got called up to the main roster, and even some of the main roster guys who just never really got a real chance. But right now, it doesn't look good, guys. So we got to cross our fingers. Hopefully, they pull themselves out of this slump. It was a WrestleMania to forget. It sucks to say that, but I'm going to try to be optimistic. Leave it off an optimistic note. They do have people there that can make it better, and the women, everything, even the Total Divas versus Team Bad match wasn't bad. You know what I mean? It was a good match, but everything that involved female performers tonight was great, and it was a step in the right direction. It gives you a lot to be excited about. So I like to end things off on a positive note. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at the Casual Smarks. And you can follow me. I don't have my go ahead.
Wait. It's not the Casual Smarks, it's Casual Smarks.
Oh yeah, thank you. Casual Smarks, no the before Casual Smarks. And then you can follow me on Twitter if you want. I don't have it written on there, but it's at IggyGQ, IggyGQ. And we will be back with you on Tuesday. Tomorrow won't work out. We can't do because we're on the West Coast, so we get Raw 3 hours late, and we don't like read any spoilers or anything. So we're gonna watch it live, and by then it's way late, and everyone on the East Coast is already asleep. So we will be back with you on Tuesday with our post WrestleMania Raw review podcast. And until then, thank you guys for listening tonight. Go ahead and leave us some questions if you want us to answer anything for you guys. This is Matt.
This is Steven. Peace.
And we will see you guys next time. Peace out.